7 red flags hiring managers are looking at for. If you're a job seeker, don't scroll. This video is for you. Let's go. Hi everyone, my name is Chigozie. If you're just joining this channel for the first time, you're in the right place to learn all you need to know about your career and progress in your career journey. I made this post on LinkedIn some weeks ago and it went viral. It had over 12,000 impressions, which is great, right, for a topic like this. And I realized that a lot of people don't know what hiring managers are looking at for, so they miss out. In fact, some people get the opportunity to be invited for an interview and yet they don't make it to the next stage. So I'm going to show you from the perspective of a hiring manager and a recruiter. I'm an HR professional and I've recruited a lot of people. I've screened hundreds of resumes, so I know exactly what hiring managers are looking at for. One red flag that hiring managers always look at for is your lack of preparation. Most candidates don't know this. If you don't prepare well for your interview, the hiring manager will know. If you're just casually interviewing, like you're just strolling, you're asking questions that are not relevant, or you're answering questions in a way that doesn't show enthusiasm, the hiring manager will know. And trust me, they just check that off their list that no, this one is a no-no for us. So make sure that you are enthusiastic about the role that you're applying for. Even if you think that maybe this is not the best role for you, you're just looking out for different options, make sure you put up a very good face in front of the hiring manager. So one way to also show that you are heavily prepared for that interview is to research the company. Have a good knowledge about the company that you are applying to. Know their values, know their core beliefs, their mission, their goals, their visions, all of those things, so you can easily talk about those things during an interview. I had an interview some time ago and I was mentioning the values, the core values of the company, and the hiring manager was she was surprised. She was like, oh, how do you know about all these things? Who told you about them? I said, I looked it up on your website. It's right there. And he shook his head, was impressed that I did my research. And he asked me to, explain a bit more. What do you think about this? What do you think about this value? And I explained how their values resonated with me, right? And that really impressed them. So hiring managers know when you do your research. So please do that. Learn about the company. It shows that you are well prepared for the interview. Another thing they look out for, another red flag they look out for, is your passion for the role. Your lack of passion. If you don't have it, they will know. It's just similar to the first one, your lack of preparation. If you don't prepare, they will know. If you don't have passion for that role, they will know. Okay, and the other one is if you are not providing very coherent responses, if your responses are vague or evasive, that's a red flag for them. For example, if they ask you a question about what you did in your previous role or something on your resume, for example, tell me about your job at XYZ company. What exactly did you do? How did you excel in that role? And then you go off like, so I started with the company. I filed some reports, and then I went off to, they will know that what are you talking about? You're not being coherent, right? So make sure you answer questions, and if they ask you questions that really require direct answers, answer those questions. For example, if they ask you about your career gap, why were you out of work from 2016 to 2020? Don't say, what happened was that my job was doing this and my father was doing that, and so no, tell us. If you went for time off, like maternity leave or work break, people do that. Say that. That's one of the reasons you should prepare your responses ahead of time, because questions like that may pop up, so you should have ready answers for such questions. Or if you are laid off and it was difficult for you to find a job, everybody knows that from 2020 till now, layoffs have been happening. It's very difficult for people to find jobs, so you can use that as a good excuse if that applies to you. So don't be afraid to answer questions directly, even though there may be questions that are not very comfortable talking about, right? The fourth one is your poor communication skills. Hiring managers tick this one off because they want somebody on their team who can easily communicate to team members, to customers, to partners, to directors. When they ask you to present something, they want to see you present that case, present that report, present whatever project that you're working on. So if in the interview you're not able to express yourself very well, they know and they wouldn't want you on their team. So make sure you practice your responses. And it's not that you don't know. For many people, it's not that they don't know. You know it, you know this stuff. It's just that you've not practiced how to communicate your value. You need to practice how to communicate your value. So do that with a friend, do that with a family member. And even right now, there are apps, there are software tools that you can download or install on your computer that can help you practice your interview questions. You will review your videos and know how well you're doing. I mean, if you watch those videos, you ask yourself, if I were the hiring manager, would I hire this person? You know, ask yourself that question after watching those practice videos. Would I hire this person? And after watching them, if you think that the videos are good, then you go ahead to prepare for that interview, because you're gonna do well, right? The fifth one is negative comments about your past employer or previous experiences with colleagues and companies. So if you had a negative experience in the past with any employer, you don't want to bring that up. Even if you were laid off unjustly, even if you were maltreated, you want to explain that in a certain way that doesn't necessarily say bad things about that employer. Because the thing is, if in an interview you're already talking about your previous employer in a bad light, the hiring manager thinks that, okay, in this company you're going to do the same thing, and they don't want that. So make sure you focus on the positive aspects of your previous role, even if it was, let me use the word shitty, even if it was a shitty role. Focus on the positive aspect. There's always a positive aspect in every bad job. Either you learned something, or you earned a lot, or you had great colleagues, or you had a great manager, or it was flexible. There's always something good in every bad job. I remember the bad is in quotes, right? So focus on the positive aspects of that job instead of the negative experiences you had. And then the sixth one is inconsistency between interview responses and resume. Hiring managers will always ask you something about what you did that you wrote on your resume. They always want to know if what you're saying right now corresponds with what they are seeing right in front of them on your resume. So make sure that you're not lying. Make sure that you're not saying something different. If you worked at company XYZ from 2020 to 2022 and they ask you something about that, make sure you have a good story to tell them concerning what is on your resume. And then lastly, another red flag that they look out for is excessive focus on compensation and perks. If you come for the interview and you're so focused on what are you guys gonna pay me, how much is this role worth, and all of that, I know you should have done your research before coming for that interview, but in case the perks and the compensation haven't been finalized yet before you came for that interview, don't start off with that. Don't start off with that. Focus on the value that you bring to the table. That's what sells. That's what sells. That's what the hiring managers will look at and say, okay, you are so good and we don't want to let you go. So if you come up to them as a money focused person, I know everybody wants to make money, even in that role, right? But don't come up to them as money kind of person. That will put them off. And if you're asking for something that's outside your budget, that might really cause them to reconsider, right? And even if you're asking something more than what's on their budget, if you present it in such a way that you are talking about more of your values, then they may reconsider. I've hired somebody that we wanted to pay them a certain amount of money, but because we saw how good he was in the interview, we saw the value proposition, we saw what he was going to do for us in our company, we said, oh, we better pay this guy what he's asking for. So you see, he focused on his values, he focused on what he was bringing to the table, and we didn't want to lose him. So I hope these 7 red flags will help you to prepare yourself for the next interview you're going for. If you have any questions, you can always leave a comment or send me an email directly. My email address is on YouTube. You can always click on that link and shoot me an email. As a career coach, I'm your go-to for anything career related. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.